Hello. Hello. What is it? Minneapolis. What's doing? What's happening? Hello, Vietnam. Whatever. Hi, guys.
Eat 'em up, eat 'em up,
Hope.
yum yum. Eat
Time
'em
to
up,
eat.
eat 'em up, yum yum.
Okay. So, hi, guys. This is Mark Black, and this is Mark Teaches Music. And I want to welcome you to my channel. And this is our to play and sing Q&A, live Q&A. And you can ask all your questions about music and put them in the chat. And point here is that uh, I will look at this chat, of course, and your questions are the absolutely you who are watching this live. Y'all's questions are the most important things that are going on. So be sure and put these questions in here, and then let's see. And if you're interested in lessons, you want to go to dallasmusiclessons.com, and there's information there about lessons and how to contact us and all that kind of good stuff. And of course, a lot of my students are here on this live chat. So so Tom says, "Hey, hey." Tom says his question is the most important. Well, that is actually it. Unless we get another question, his question is the first question today. After making him sit and wait on his question for so long, so let's see if I want to make sure I cover all my little beautiful bases here before I go shouting off into the wild words. Let's see. That's not what I was trying to say. It's this stuff here. So okay. So all right. Well, here we are. So remember now, I want you to put your questions in there and ask, including blah blah blah. I was there, but I didn't say anything. Don't do that. Just go ahead and say something, but ask a question, man. Ask a question about lessons, about your instrument, about what you're interested in. So musically, why does country music suck? Why does classical music suck? Why does rock and roll suck? Why do the Beatles suck? Oh yeah. So no, my point is just everybody thinks, most people think their music is great and all the other music sucks, and that's pretty incorrect. So just by the way, and what it's more like is that we have different factors that make us like the music we like. A lot of them based on our personality, and then a lot of it's based on when you heard it and what your big brother listened to and your parents and things like that and all that kind of good stuff. So anyway, just babbling, saying that there's a lot of reasons. I was just trying to say something. So okay, well that's enough time talking. Okay, so the first question, and again, put your questions in there. I'm gonna see them. I'm gonna read them. I'm gonna answer them. It's gonna be amazing. But I do reserve the right to say I don't know, because there's gonna be so many questions that I wouldn't know. I do know how to triple tongue and double tongue though. So that's cool. I can get all that. So okay, so the first question is jazz chords, and what are jazz chords? And what I try to do, just by the way, I try to not the questions you're sending and the questions in the other seminars that I've had. I try not to look at them beforehand, so that I think the idea is to be spontaneous in my answer, and perhaps more succinct as opposed to a long, true explanation of what jazz chords are. So the jazz, is a language. Any music, country music is a language. Metal is a language, a musical language. And so it's like certain things are not in country music that would be in jazz, and some things are not in the blues that are in metal. And then there's commonality in all those styles. So anyway, so first off, jazz chords, without saying anything useful, are the language, the chord language, harmonic language that jazz is based around. And a definer, there's several definers of jazz, but it's one of the definers of jazz. So so a short answer, very, very short answer, and so many answers that you could give are just could be picked apart in a second. But essentially, a short answer would be chords that use lots of numbers, basically. If you think about you're playing country music, playing a rock song, it may have, it has A, has C minor, has D. It may have a minor seven, A minor seven, it may have D7, A7, like that, but doesn't have a lot of numbers. Whereas a jazz chord might have a big number, it would have like C add 2 or C13 or C9 or C9 with the flat 5. And I'm just saying it's a short synopsis. Hey, check it out. You're just looking at a chord. This boy's got a lot of things on it. C7 flat 5 sharp 9. Well, that's probably a jazz chord and probably didn't come from Hank Williams Jr.'s latest release. And it didn't come from Metallica either, just by the way, or whatever. So that's a short answer. Now, what we can do, taking another step, saying, and let's see how this works. I know how I want this to work. Let's see if it works that way or not. Well, that's not right. Where's my beautiful? Oh, here we go. There. Ah, good. Look at that screen. That's so wonderful. Okay, and then bring this guy. Look, a white screen. You weren't expecting that, were you? And neither was I. Okay, look, here I am. Okay, so I think I'm going to draw on this sucker. And listen, we're working all kind of cool things out, trying to figure out how to use my beautiful iPad Pro to do this stuff. But see, look, I can write. So another way, this is not an exact thing. So what I would say is I'm trying to draw a dividing line. And I'm saying, so chords like this, A minor, that's an A minor. Ooh, it's messy. Like this, and D7, 7 chords, not D7, 7, 7. Let's say E minor 7. Like these chords are common, so we could play a song like "Fly Me to the Moon." Fly me, fly me, fly me to the... Why is it wrong? There's something wrong about that. Let's try another key. Fly me to the moon. Here. Fly me to the moon. No, there. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. There we go. I got it. Okay. So my point is, I'm playing an A minor, and then a D minor, and then a G, and a C. Okay, and again, "Fly Me to the Moon" is actually from the history of music. Jazz would play it all the time, of course, but it's really sort of more of a pop song in the older 50s, 60s pop thing. But in other words, most of what Frank Sinatra was doing was not being like, I'm a jazz singer, but it was, I'm just singing these pop, normal songs everybody loves. And then nowadays, the complexity of the songs makes them pop songs. Anyway, here's this song with the A minor chord. Now, forget, if you're a guitar player, we don't care about I'm just playing the guitar because it's here in my hand. I didn't even mean to have this in my hand. I have an electric guitar over here. I was going to use that. So I'm playing regular A minor. Fly me to the moon, D minor. Moon and let me G chord and a C. That's fine, right? But if we were listening to it in jazz, here it is. Let's add sevens to everything. So make it A minor 7. Here we go. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. That's a A minor 7 and a D minor 7 and a G7 and a C major 7. That's kind of jazzier. However, if you're listening to a James Taylor song or a Carly Simon song or the Reign of Kendo song or Maroon 5 song, they'll have those chords in there. And a lot of your rock songs and a lot of your country songs, for example, have those. I'm talking about sevens, just sevens. So when I drew this line here, my beautiful line, and what I was trying to say is, so sevens come right up to the line in blues, so here's a bunch of sevens, I was a C7. Here's an F7. I love you, baby. I'm going to get to the G7. So I'm saying we get up to the sevens, we get right up to the line of that is interesting. but it hasn't crossed over into jazz. I'm talking about, so that includes, let's put a C major 7 in here. So neatly done. Let's make my big head smaller so we can see that. There we go. C major 7. So here we go. Last one. There he goes. So I'm saying minor 7s, dominant 7s, which is just this set letter in 7, and major 7s would be like, that's as common. This is common with both kinds of music, and so. But once we go past that, let's say make these 9s or alter notes, then we're in the a jazz kind of song. So here's the same song again. Here was A minor, D minor, G, and C. Now here it is with 7s. A little more interesting, a little darker, and prettier. Now let's make them. What was the first A minor? Let's make it A minor 9. This is A minor 9. And let's make this a, yeah, that's so pretty. Another, this really is just A minor 7. Fly, fly me to the moon, let me play. I'll make it, we'll pick this up. So this is a 13, G13. Play among the stars. So this is a major 9. Just listen to that sound again. A little bit more. Let's do it like this. That's a minor 11, A minor 11. My guitar's sliding all around. Whoa, it's terrible. It's giving me a lot of problems with my guitar. There's my 9. Now, what I want you to notice about that. So I did a minor 11. I did a minor 7, which was. I put the 7 up top to make it a little more noticeable, and then I did the G instead of a G7. I did a G13, and then I did a D C major 9, and I love this chord. I'm just going to play a C9-6. Play. No, I love all these chords, but play among the stars. Notice how that's like very friendly sound. So anyway, all of these chords could be found in a lot of different sounds as a single chord, a single interesting chord. But jazz would use these as a very, very common language. Now, just by the way, those of you who play in bands, jazz bands and stuff, jazz things, you won't see a whole lot of these names. In other words, a jazz song would look something like, oh, look at that. A jazz would look something like, well, that song, it probably says A minor 7, and it says D minor 7, and it probably says, maybe it says G. Let's just make it a G9 and C major 7. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, it probably says that on the chart. But you as the jazz musician are supposed to add more numbers, colors to it. So make it an A minor 11 like I did, and like that. And what I want you to see is there are a lot of them. It's not like one of them. So I'm going to stop this answer to say that. So a jazz chord is a chord that's used in jazz. And then one of the things we could see in that is that there's a lot of numbers in those chords, and that in the fact that there are those numbers makes it so this looks so horrible when I do this. There's got to be a better way. We will fix it and make it better. But this just is terrible looking. Let's just make that. Look at that. And then the other thing with those is there'd be a lot of them. So basically 7s and 9s and 11s and 13s, and it's not as hard as it sounds, and there's all kind of shortcuts and ways to make it sound really good. And I'm just going to write a couple of just typical, like in just any old jazz song you'll see. Let's say A. I hate this designation. I never use it. A minor 7 flat 5, which is really a half diminished 7. And let's make this a D. Let's make it a D7 flat 9 or D. And this would all be not like that, but raised up. Sharp 9. This is a normal. This is what I'm writing here is a normal chord in jazz. So I'm just saying that looks a lot, but you could put it together as a lot of numbers. And then all I want to say too is that I wanted to mention. Oh, sorry, you can't see that. Sorry, here. Just added some more. There you go. Look at that. So that's this sound, and here's that other sound. So there's the A minor. Yeah, there's the A minor with the flat 5, which is a half diminished sound. Guitar players, you don't need to know how to play this. You just listen to the sound. And here's the. Now I wanted to mention this other thing that about. See, this is just an upgrade from this. Good old D7, D. I love my baby, she's so fine, and I played the D chord for her and back. So here's the D, and so I say, well, that's not quite rough enough. Let's make that a little more aggressive. So I say, well, let's play D7. I love my baby, she's so fine, yeah. And make the D7, she's so fine, yeah. And we say, well, that's not aggressive enough. Let's make it a 9. Let's make it a D9. Now forget about the handle, the making of it. It's just you're a piano player, you're a sax player. So we upgrade this. Let's make it a little more aggressive. Let's go for a 9. I love my baby. Here's a 9. She's so fine. Okay. Let me say, well, that's not mean enough either. So we got D, D7, D9. Let's make it a D9. Let's make it a sharp 9. Now all we're doing is coming up a scale or a mountain of not complexity. Yes, it is complexity, but it is tension. This is some tension. This is more tension. This is more tension. This is more tension. And probably, usually when they get into the altering the 5 and the 7s, we usually take these to minors. We don't have to, but notice that sounds pretty appropriate. My guitar's just. I didn't want to put the strap on because I don't want it to, take all this time. Yes. So, and then, what? One more. Let's just make a both. Yeah, that's the full chord. So the 9 is sharp. Now the 5 is also sharp. So. So. That's enough about jazz chords. So there is no difference. It's still the same general idea, important idea, useful idea of all music is about tension and resolution. And so it's not, jazz would just take those things into more extreme and very closely or much more closely related to classical music, which ideally is music for music's sake, art for art's sake, music for music's sake, which is not true at all. But that's what they say, meaning that there would be complexities and things in there. We don't care if you like it, but of course they do. So anyway, all right, now I'm considering that done. It's enough. It's a very broad overview about jazz chords. So what I said was 7s are mutual in all the styles, more or less, pretty much, and then more than that, 9s, 11s, 13s, altered chords, half diminished, 7s diminished, not diminished, bad example, but now we're into jazz chords. But all of those regular non-jazz styles will have those chords in them as a single chord, or maybe 2 chords, and then go back to that simpler language. But jazz will be using them quite frequently. And then I said, hey, this weird caveat, if you look in the real book, a lot of those songs, there's some song you think, wow, this is going to kick my butt with all these crazy chords. It won't necessarily have all those crazy chords in it. Written out, you are supposed to know how to stick those in. Okay, next question. Can you help me get into music school? Yeah, you got $1,000. I'm sorry, you got $10,000? No. Me personally, which is of course we were talking about, is the answer to that is I can so make you amazing, and it's just like the dream student would be I am a junior, beginning junior, and in 2 years I want to get into UNT, which I've had 4 students in UNT, and I've had not to get in. Well, I have a student get into Berkeley, students from Berkeley, students from the Royal Conservative Music, but So the dream student from a, whoa, would be, okay, I'm a beginning junior, 2 years, I'm going to get a UNT. And so it's like you got all this time. Oh. So yes, I can freaking make you everything they're going to ask you, you can do amazingly. Yes. Now, what I don't have, just by the way, is connections. I can't go call up, so and so and say, hey, get my boy Jimmy in. Or, I got this great chick named Cindy Lou, and she wants to get in. And I can't do that. The connection part, which can be important, and sometimes it's not. Most of the time, most people get into music school, maybe about 2/3 are just, I play, this is how it sounded good. And then maybe a third or a quarter, something like that, is like, yes, you sound really good, and your teacher knows this professor, and like that. Anyway, so that's the answer to that. Is yes, skill wise, abso-freaking-lutely. What they're going to ask, being excellent at it, and succeeded at it. We've succeeded at it. Me and my students have succeeded at it many times. However, the connections, no. Okay, well that's another one. Okay, does anybody still listen to classical music? If you wait, okay, that's the second question. Yeah. Okay, does anybody still listen to classical music? Okay, so yes, absolutely. However, we're getting to opinion. I need a little science opinion. So as the gradual dumbing down of society, coming from kindergarten on, you need to know less and less. You need to be less and less precise. You need less and less finite, not math specifically, math skills, English skills. All these demands on your brain are lessening, and that's just been going on for at least 50 years, if not 70 or 80 years. Well, I'm saying, I don't know if you know this or not, you used to have to speak Hebrew, Greek, and Latin to get into Harvard, not to go to Harvard to learn those. You couldn't get into Harvard until you could speak those languages well. And of course, they would never think of that, even you learning those languages now, or any one of those languages. So anyway, so the gradual dumbing of people, what you're supposed to know, what you're supposed to listen to and appreciate intellectually, well, it means that there's less and less of the appeal of classical music. 150 years ago, think about it. There's no radio, there's no phonograph. You can't even listen to a record. So if you want music, you've either got to go to the town square, and the town band's playing. You're fortunate enough, or you got to make it yourself. And the huge big seller from let's say 1800 through 1900 would be it would be Beethoven's Fourth Symphony is out now for four hands, piano 4 hands. Me and my son are going to sit down, we're going to play piano. My daughter and my brother, and her brother, they're going to sit down and play, these duets for us. How pleasant that is. And so, that what I'm getting at is that was the music. I'm not talking about how smart people are now. I'm saying that was the music. That was what we're listening to. Were they playing just pretty little songs that people sang, like Oh Yeller or something? Yes, they were. But they were also playing these more complicated songs. And what I'm saying, it was normal. It was a normal part of life. It wasn't like, wow, that is so weird. You're listening to something by Debussy. It wasn't like that. It was like, yeah, this is something I'm listening to. And let's say half of people would listen to this stuff. So yes, every 20 years, kind of the culture takes a step dumber, and less intellectually inclined, and more either sensually inclined. I'm just talking about responding to, wow, there's a funky beat, or simple, just from I just want to dance to this, or I just want to sing this. I don't want to be challenged, and that's not wrong. It's not wrong that all music does not at all, in any sense, need to be intellectually stimulating. I'm just my purpose in music is not to go, whoa, some of it, yep. So anyway, so now because there's just a tremendously less. So the impetus used to be, let's say 50 years ago, 60 years ago, the impetus was if you're going to learn music, you're going to learn classical music, you want to learn classical music, your parents want you to learn that, your friends want you to learn that. You know, what are you going to do? You're going to be in the orchestra, you're going to be in the concert band, you know, and we're going to play classical pieces or semi-classical pieces. And every year that goes away. And so now there are, at one state, there absolutely, I have students all the time, have now, who are personality, that's not the right word, personality, because their personalities are, they love classical music. They love the detail, they love the intellectual part, they love the precision, they love the do this exactly like this. Boy, that's really hard to do. I have to be really precise to do this. I have to be really skilled to do this. They love that. Just by the way, advanced bluegrass music and progressive rock and Steve Vai and Joe Satriani and Eric Johnson, that kind of music. Lots of Dream Theater, just as examples of names, and the Yellow Jackets and some jazz, depends on, you know, is the same thing. So you liking a piece by, you know, I can't think of his name now. I can't think of any of their names. Andy, no. The fingerstyle, all the awesome fingerstyle guys. I'm thinking Klimbim, Don Ross, and the Korean dude. And so you liking these precise, wow, that's the guy playing that. It's the same thing as classical music. It is classical music. It is actually classical technique put into more modern sounds. So you like classical music. You like the details and you like the difficulty and all like that. So there's, but then classical music itself, there are people who are temperamentally inclined to that, really love that. And of course, if your parents play this when I'm talking about you're 2. Well, of course, what are you going to say? No, you're not going to reject it when you're 2. Yeah, Andy McKee. Thank you, Tom. Andy McKee. Andy McKee, and who used to be really fat, is no longer. Don Ross. That is classical music, except it's again modern sounds. The classical tradition is kept up in the music schools. It's kept up in every major city has a major orchestra, and every year they have to get more and more and more money from donations and from rich people, and less and less and less money from ticket sales. And that's a tragedy. I don't think it should be. It's just, again, opinion. Beep 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 beep. Opinion. I don't feel like that a guy who only likes Kenny Chesney should have to, in his taxes, you know, pay for, you know, Mussorgsky's picture set and exhibition. You know, his tax dollars are going to support. No, you know, they said so. If we care about classical music enough to make it happen, then we need to. I'm not sure what the changes would be. We should make that work. You know, just exactly like a blues player. If he wants to play blues, then he's got to be really good or figure out a way to make it work. So anyway, yes, people listen to classical music a lot less than it was, and it probably will continue. I've had symphony musicians tell me, I don't know that this is true, I bet it is, that the quality, this is 30 years ago telling me this, that the quality of classical musicians, talking about the people playing the symphonies, is going down. Down, 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 every 5 years, every 10 years. Again, because less and less people are listening, therefore less and less people are preparing and learning and doing all this kind of stuff. And don't think about, when you think about somebody like, which is not classical, Snarky Puppy, or, you know, somebody playing the Flight of the Bumblebee or something, and you go like, wow, that guy's incredible, and so you're wrong. Yes, however, you know, I'm wrong in the sense that I mean, there's definitely amazing players. There's always going to be amazing players, and the question is how many of them are there, and what are they playing? And I'm saying as a percentage, there are less and less of them as classical musicians. All right, that was my beautiful answer for that. Okay, so next, I'm not going to do that question because that was an accident. Okay, what was or is your biggest hurdle in music? My biggest hurdle in music. Well, one of them is or was um, maybe a 5 year period, which I guess I'm still in, kind of switching from I'm getting good, I'm preparing, I'm practicing, I'm getting better, better, better. Work, do these things to get better and better, better. Like I'm still working, I'm still getting better, 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 I'm getting better, better, better. But I'm not really. Uh, it's like if I can't do it the right way, I won't do it. If I can't do it the official way, I won't do it. If I can't play with these six strings, I won't do it. If I can't do it with the right fingering, I won't do it. If I can't do it with the right breath support, I won't do it. And basically, when I was about 50, which was just last year, not really, when I was 50, I was like, well, how long am I going to prepare? At some point, I'm going to die, and it's like, it seems like I ought to have a few years of enjoying my music and just playing. And yes, I didn't figure that right. And yes, that wasn't the double, double harmonic minor scale, uh, and you sang that in the head voice instead of the chest voice. Uh, but it's like, so switching from you got to do this right, don't do this unless it's correct, to I like this and I want to do it, and I just have to get things done. And just in saying that I didn't do that for 35 years, all professional musicians is a very important point for you to realize. All professional musicians make huge compromises and do things like I'm not kidding, this is real, you can read it, I showed in print, put rubber bands on their flute to play certain weird things that classical, particularly atonal music, write for the flute. And it's like, how am I going to play this? No way to play this. Well, I'll put a rubber band on this, and just so many compromises to make things work. So what I'm saying is that's a normal thing. And so what I was talking about is not I'm talking about kind of a endemic or ubiquitous. I'm going to make the decision that let's get out there and play. Let's get out there and do and not focus so much on being perfect, and thus cause speed and accuracy are enemies. They're when you do it as fast as it goes and perfectly correct, perfectly accurate, then you have the perfect song, right? But until it is that way, speed and accuracy, they fight. So if you try to do it perfect, you're doing it slower. You're trying to do it perfect. Perfect's winning. I gotta get perfect. So you're doing it slower because you're trying to get. And then you say no, or accurate. Sorry, try to get accurate. And then you say no, I want to do it faster. I want to be really aggressive. I want to be really fast. I want to be really like that. Then now you're doing it less accurately. So all I'm saying is we're making compromises. So that fight. Okay, so that's the answer for that one. I have 12 minutes left. Well, that's messed up. I can't read that. Oh, how do you expand your vocal range? You practice. And you do, the primary thing would be the primary focus on all instruments, including the voice. You have a where you are. Then you have a this is if this was how fast you can play your scales, but let's talk about your singing. So you can sing this, and then you have if I try really hard and I do these right techniques, then I will expand. And if we looked at like this, like notes or something, you'd be like, okay, if I really do the right techniques from what I can do, and I try to do the right techniques and I concentrate and I do this, then I can squeeze out 2-3 notes higher, 2-3 notes lower, something like that. It's about a quantifiable amount, just like, but it's not, and what we wish it would be. It's like, well, like the highest note I can sing is a C, so now just through willpower and sincerity, I'm going to hit an octave above that. That is not going to occur, but I might hit an D above that, or if A is my lowest note, I might be able to hit a G or an F sharp with correct techniques and attention and things like that. Now, if I want to expand what is natural and normal, not what I can do by concentration, but what is normal. What's normal becomes the E flat that I had trouble hitting with even with confrontation. Now concentration becomes the norm. I can just hit that whenever I want to. Then we have to practice for the voice. So I'm stating that the reason I went through that is that you cannot get your brain right, and add an octave to your voice. You know, you will have to practice. And one of the purposes of practice is getting those correct techniques firmly in your head, firmly in your. I'm talking about you've assimilated them. They are part of you. You do them naturally. So, but a short answer after saying the long answer is do arpeggios. Ma 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 ma. So when you do this, let's do this. Mom. Say ooh. Ma 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 ma. Ooh. Ma 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 ma. Probably should have sung some today. What do you think? Ma 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 ma. So the point there is this note. Actually, this note, of course, but that note that I'm hitting. If I was to go, walking up my steps, then that would be a very, very painful crawl, you know, to up to that note. I'd feel every half step, every whole step, and like, wow, this is really difficult to get to that. Feeling, I'm talking when I'm at the D and I still got 4 notes to go. I'm like, well, this is pretty high now, and so now I got to E and I got F sharp. So arpeggio helps with developing the voice because you hop to these notes, and by the time you realize you're at that high note, you're off of it. Ba 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 ba. And so, how do you sing higher? You sing arpeggios, and then of course, what you just everything the way we practice becomes the way we play or the way we sing. So we've got to do as many good things as a practice regimen gives you. It usually comes along with a little bit of baggage. You know, it's like that. You know, that blood pressure medicine. No, it's so great. It'll do this, and then the guy goes, and it'll cause a heart attack, and the earth will fall out of the orbit of the sun, and make you speak Chinese and Mandarin. You know, it's like guys saying all these bad things are going to happen. So I'm saying that good thing you're doing to practice comes with a couple of bad things. So then it gets hard to do scalar things if you do it too much. But range by itself is arpeggios. Okay. How do you decide what to play if you like multiple instruments and can't decide? You need to. So you can't decide what instrument to play. Let's take it as that. You need to listen to those instruments and the music they play. This is 100% what you need to do. You listen to those instruments. What not what you would play. What do the people who play these instruments play? You know, what is a normal flute piece? What is a normal violin piece? And you listen. You're not just you're like checking it out. You know, what does an organ do? What does a trumpet do? You know, what does a guitar do? And of course, some of the instruments, guitar and piano, so huge. It's just like, but so you'd have to say, well, you know, piano does the blues, piano does the classical, piano does jazz, piano does Carole King. You know. So, and I'm saying those would be really big instruments. So you might choose it for that very reason. Wow, I can do all these things. But you may be in love with the sound of the mandolin, or you may be in love with the sound of the harmonica. Not just the sound. You say now. So you go, what does a harmonica play? You know, what kind of music? What kind of stuff does he do? And in general, that will clear it up for you. And it's not if you were a kid in band director. I was in band. From 10, and I love the band. Band director, orchestral director, same thing for a choir director. He is looking to fill slots, you know, and all the boys want to play saxophone. A few of them want to play trumpet. All the girls want to play flute. Some of them want to play clarinet. And so there's a billion sax players, a billion flute players, and there's usually enough trumpets. All the other instruments, there's not enough, and so the band director's going to say, you know, your hand perfectly shaped to play the clarinet, you know, or you grimaced when you played that trumpet note, so you should play the tuba. And what they should just say is, we got too many trumpets, and you know, would you please play tuba for us? It's got a lot of similarities, can help you, and there's very few there. You might get a scholarship and become rich. So anyway. Imagine what those instruments play, and use that to decide. And then there's a couple of instruments, 3 or 4 instruments, but more obviously 2, guitar and piano, that play a huge range of sounds, of instruments, of kinds of, I'm sorry, of kinds of music. So it's like, so choosing the piano is hardly narrowing anything down, and guitars only slightly less. You know, guitars just, you've narrowed it down to all the music in the world. Yeah. So anyway, so there you go. Listen to the music those instruments play. All right, I still have time, and let's see. Can you learn bad habits from singing along to the radio all the time? Well, abso-freaking-lutely. I guess that's my term for the day. Abso-freaking-lutely. You should never, ever, never, ever sing where you're not paying attention to what you're doing. I'm not talking about not having fun, but if you're going, I don't know why it's in my head, you know. You're going, don't rock the jukebox, I want to hear George Jones, 'cause my heart ain't ready for the Rolling Stone. I'm not ruining my voice, I'm ruining the governor of my voice, the ruler of my voice, which is my ear. So the guitar, you can be deaf and play the guitar. You could be deaf and play the piano. You can be deaf. You probably can't be deaf and play the brass because this one fingering is more than one note. But an instrument like the flute, you could probably be deaf and play those instruments because it's like, do this, and this is a D. It's a dot on the page, do this, blow. Especially, let's stick on the piano, we'll stick on the guitar. I'm holding my finger like this. This is the D chord. I can't hear it. But you can't sing a note correctly unless you hear it correctly. The governor, the ruler of your voice is the ear. So here's this voice going, la. Let's do something wrong here. Let's do this. So I go, la, la, la. And your ear says, no, sucker. It's not la, it's la. You know, la. So half of your battle in singing better is getting your ear to notice and better control what your voice is doing, and you desperately need that. And so if you're singing in the car, you're singing in the shower, and you're going, don't rock the jukebox, I won't hear George Jones, my heart ain't ready for the Rolling Stone. If you're singing like that, you're in the car, you're in the shower, that's great. I'm not talking about how good that is. The pitches were accurate. That's fine. And if you're not noticing what you're singing, and you're singing incorrect notes, then you're teaching yourself to sing wrongly. Not badly. Maybe you have a perfect, maybe you're going like this. Let's see. Yeah, let's see if I can do this. Don't rock the jukebox, I want to hear George Jones, my heart ain't ready. Well, it's so hard to do. So I'm singing in a different key. I'm singing pretty good, but my ear, and I have students that do this, my ear, I'm not listening to my ear. So I'm not letting my ear rule me. Okay, I'm going to do one more question, and this is because of time. So the point is, make sure you can hear yourself and make your notes correct. And don't go, don't rock the jukebox. Now I'm singing the correct pitches. Don't rock the jukebox when it's George Jones. Every note is the right pitch, but now they're all weak and wimpy and things like that. So if you sing pretty good. And last one. Okay, what does it say? Ways to know I'm improving. Well, what would that be? You sound better, duh. But the thing that comes to mind when that question there is asked is, you do need, I hate to say this, I'm not happy about this, that this would take this long, but many of the things that you want to learn will take 3 and up to 6 months to bear fruit. So your timetable on am I improving is 3 to 6 months. You know, it's not tomorrow. And it is like you're growing a garden, or like you're raising animals or something, you know, or you're training dogs or something. Talking about your growth as a musician, it's like you're trying to get better and better, and you try a new way to pick. I'm picking differently with your right hand, and you can't some of them will be like, whoa. Some things you try to be, whoa, that's it, boom. And other ones you're kind of like, this is really awkward, or this is really hard or whatever. And now things that hurt, of course, we just stop because they hurt, seriously. But I'm saying that a lot of the things that we want to try, that we want to accomplish, take replacing one habit with a better habit. And habits take time. Habits are about repetition. So anyway, I'm just saying, how do you know if you're improving? You need to let the things that you're learning to do work on them for 3 to 6 months to see if they work. And then look, if you're not making progress with your teacher or with your method, or within 3 to 6 months, you would say, now there's something wrong. I mean, not that's this teacher's wrong, or this book is wrong, or I'm doing something wrong, because you should see regular progress, really about every 3 months. And this question about how do I know I'm improving, I'm thinking, I guess, I see regular improvement on aspects. This aspect every 3 months, every 2 months. Oh, look, I can play these chords better. Oh, look, I can sing higher. Oh, look, But then as a whole, it'd be like, am I moving, further and further along? All the things. It'd be like 3 to 6 months. You'd be like, I feel a lot better on this. Oh, not just I can finger this better, but it sounds better as a whole. I feel a lot better about playing in front of other people now. 3 to 6 months. Individual techniques, 3 months. And that's the only measure I can think of. You can ask other people, but you're going to have, like you ask your mom. Let's say you ask your mom and your dad. And your mom, no matter what you do, is going to go, oh, I love it when you play. And your dad, he may say that too, or you may say, oh, you suck. I don't know why you're not a lawyer, or whatever, What I'm getting at is not dads and moms. I'm saying you have people that just love you. They have no discernment. They can't really tell if you play good or bad. You have other people that, you don't play George Jones, so you suck, or you suck, period. You have mean people, all kind of stuff. It's a little hard to get feedback from other people. It's hard to get feedback from other musicians, in the sense that those musicians might be the same way. Just trying to encourage you, or just trying to, they hate you because they take their job. Who knows? I'm not trying to be stupid. I'm just trying to say it's a lot of dealing with people is awkward, So let's take it with this. If you, on an individual technique, you give it 3 months and see if it improved. On your overall effort, 3 to 6 months, like, is this a good book? Is this a good teacher? Is this a good way? You should be able to say, absolutely, probably every 3 months, but absolutely every 6 months, you look back and say, wow, last time I couldn't do, 6 months ago I couldn't do blah, blah, blah. I couldn't play that fast, or I couldn't, I didn't know these 3 scales that I'm using, not just things to do, but things that are really helping me. So, okay, well, that's it. Okay, yep. Tom wants to learn how to play the tuba, which is this sums up so many problems. Okay, so again, Mark teaches music Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. Come and bring your questions, ask your questions. If you want interested in lessons, DallasMusicLessons.com, which is here on the site. And God bless you. Have a wonderful week. And as soon as I can push stop, I will. And so, see you later.